Hello, and welcome in. Searches for how to buy Bitcoin safely are surging at over 1900% this year alone. And that tells us something important. People aren't just curious about Bitcoin anymore, they're ready to act and they want to do it safely. And this video is here to help. Here's the problem with other how to buy Bitcoin tutorials or videos or whatever you're going to find. They walk you through the basic steps, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. They show you how to open an exchange account, set everything up, fund it, and that's it. Nothing else. And it kind of defeats the most important part of owning Bitcoin, which is sending it to cold storage. When you hold your own keys, that's when you really own Bitcoin. And that's the most important part of it. So we're going to go over everything today. Thank you so much for being here. Let's dive in. In this video, we're going to walk you through the entire process from opening your first account, making the right decisions, looking at the right exchanges, the best hardware wallets, and moving it to cold storage is the most important step. By the end of this, I hope you'll be more confident about buying Bitcoin safely and in the right way, and also confidently sending it to your cold storage wallet. Before you touch a single exchange or setup button on a website, there are three things you need to understand. One, Bitcoin is volatile. We're in a 50% drop and it moves dramatically, sometimes up 20% in a week, sometimes down 30% in a month. In this current market, Bitcoin has pulled back more than 50% from its all-time high. And just remember, based on previous pullbacks, we still have another 30% to go. So just keep that in mind. This isn't a warning to scare you off. It's a calibration. Bitcoin rewards patience and long-term holders, and it absolutely punishes short-term thinking, traders, and I love to see them get liquidated. Number two is super important. Only invest what you are comfortable watching drop 80%, because that's what's going to happen. The people who have consistently done well with Bitcoin are the ones who bought with a long enough time horizon. And that's when the bear markets become irrelevant, when you hold for long enough. Never put money you need for rent, bills, or emergency expenses. That's just a little bit of advice. Number three, this is a property, not a currency for tax purposes. In most jurisdictions, including US and Canada, when you sell or spend Bitcoin, it's a taxable event. Keep that in mind. So what that means is don't put money in that you're planning to sell within the next year or two, okay? Because you're going to it triggers a taxable event and you're going to have to own up to that. This is not financial advice. We are not at hyper Bitcoinization. Not everything runs on Bitcoin right now. I believe one day it will, but it's just the reality that we live in. If you sell your Bitcoin, if you purchase it, that triggers a taxable event and you will have to own up to it. So keep that in mind. Only invest what you prepare to hold for long term. And that's what it's all about. With that out of the way, it's time to find an exchange to actually buy Bitcoin. Not all exchanges are created equal. Choosing the wrong one is the most common and costly mistake buyers make. Here's what to look for: regulated and compliant. And I know this is counterintuitive to what Bitcoin is, but as of right now, this is just the reality of it. A legitimate exchange operates within the regulatory framework of its jurisdictions. It will be licensed to operate in your country. It is important for right now. This is not optional. Regulated exchanges have legal obligations that protect you. Unregulated offshore platforms do not. Make sure the exchange you're using has a reputable track record. You need to do your research. How long have they been operating? Do they have a history of security incidents, which is a big one? FTX is one of the largest exchanges in the world before it collapsed in November of 2022. Everybody believed in it, taking customer funds with it. Research matters. Do your own research. Bitcoin focused or Bitcoin friendly? This is one I stand firm on. Choose a Bitcoin only exchange. Some exchanges are overwhelmingly focused on altcoins and treat Bitcoin as an afterthought. For our purposes, you want a platform that takes Bitcoin seriously, because two things are going to happen. One, you're not going to be bombarded with altcoin drops every single time a new coin comes out, and they're not going to be pushing staking or yielding. Another thing Bitcoin only exchanges will be doing is they will be encouraging you to send your Bitcoin directly to your cold storage at the point of purchase. Keep that in mind. For the US, I highly recommend Swan. They're the best. I have had great experiences with them, spoken to them directly. They've helped people that I know. They are amazing. Others include Kraken, Coinbase too. Both of them, altcoin casinos. You're going to get tons of just noise thrown at you. Focus on Bitcoin only. Coinbase and Kraken still allow you to buy Bitcoin and send your Bitcoin to cold storage, but do it immediately. There have been many instances where Coinbase have frozen withdrawals. They also seem to do this when Bitcoin's price is running, and I'm not too sure why. For Canadian buyers, there's ShakePay, which is awesome, but they do also deal with Ethereum a little bit. I think their fees are a little high, and there's also Bull, which I recommend to everyone. They are great. Bitcoin only platform. They do wonderful things. Bull also takes self custody seriously and will actively encourage you to move your coins off the platform, which I love. Here's something to avoid when looking at a platform, especially if you're looking at ones you've never heard of. Avoid unusually low transaction fees, purchase fees, and high returns on yield. And I please don't ever yield or stake your Bitcoin, please. Also, look out for any platform that contacts you unsolicited. Even Coinbase won't contact you. Any investment platform that doesn't let you withdraw your Bitcoin is a huge, huge red flag. Don't buy a Bitcoin there. If you can't withdraw your Bitcoin, you don't own it. Setting up your account. Once you've chosen a reputable exchange, the setup process is straightforward, but has a few important steps you need to follow. Identity verification. This happens on all exchanges. You're never going to get away with not being able to do this. Also known as Know Your Customer, you'll need to provide a government issued ID and sometimes a selfie or proof of address. This is legally required of any regulated financial institution. This process seems a little crazy. Even for me, when I started, I was like, what is this? This is legally required for regulated financial institutions. You do the same at the bank. It's normal, it's necessary, and if an exchange doesn't require it, that's actually a warning sign and not a feature. Use a strong, unique password when you're setting up your exchange. Don't reuse a password from another site. Don't use one that you use wherever your emails and iTunes and all that stuff. Don't reuse something. Make sure it's different and you remember it. Write it down in a personal password book if you need to. This password protects access to your account. Treat it accordingly. Enable two-factor authentication and do it correctly. Every reputable exchange offers 2FA. Use an authenticator app like Google Authenticator, Authy, or similar. Anything that doesn't send you SMS text messages. SMS-based 2FA can be compromised through SIM swapping. Just remember that. An authenticator app generates codes directly on your device and is significantly more secure. Set this up before you deposit a single dollar. This is a very important step. Secure your email account is another super important one. Your exchange account is only secure as the email address is attached to. Also, make sure your email account has a strong password and also 2FA on it if you can. This is a step that most people skip and then usually get burned for it later. Now, the actual buying. How much to start with is a basic question. This is entirely personal. There's no minimum amount too small that Bitcoin won't allow you to buy. Bitcoin is divisible to 8 decimal places, which is the smallest unit called the Satoshi, and one Satoshi is 100 millionth of a Bitcoin. You don't need to buy a whole Bitcoin. You buy whatever dollar amount makes sense for your situation. Many people start with 50 or $100 just to get started, just to know what it's like. You set up the exchange, you fund it with $150, you purchase a Bitcoin and send it to your wallet. That process, use a small amount for that. Get used to it, test it out before you start buying more. DCA versus lump sum. A dollar cost average is usually the best strategy for everyday plebs like you and me, buying a fixed amount at regular intervals, weekly or monthly, regardless of price. Lump sum means buying all at once. The beauty of DCA means when the price drops, you get more sats for your money. When the price goes up, you get less. It's pretty straightforward. And there's been some crazy studies done on DCA strategies. Any pleb that's been DCAing into Bitcoin over a 4 or more year time frame is in the green. So keep that in mind. DCA removes the stress of timing. You don't have to worry about it. Just a small few $100 every month consistently. For most new buyers, setting up an automated weekly or monthly purchase is the most sustainable option. Just remember, don't use more than what you're comfortable watching drop 50 or 80% because it will. Understanding the order. When you buy most exchanges, you have two options. A market order, which executes immediately at the current price, or a limit order, which only executes if the price hits a target you set. Don't worry about that. Just DCA. For regular purchase, a market order is fine. For larger purchases, a limit order can save you from buying at an unfavorable moment. So if you do have maybe a few more $100 than normal on your DCA strategy, set a limit order. See how low you can get it. Just play with it. Watch the fees. This is an important one I think a lot of people miss. Every exchange charges fees on purchases. They're typically percentages over the transaction, often between 0.5 and 1.5%, depending on the platform and transaction size. Higher fees aren't necessarily bad if the platform is more reputable and secure. Just be aware of what you're paying for. Now, the steps that I think most videos miss. This is the part that separates a genuinely safe purchase from one that just feels safe. When you buy Bitcoin on an exchange, you don't technically own Bitcoin yet. You make the transaction, they send the Bitcoin to your wallet that's on the exchange, which is known as a hot wallet. You own a claim on a Bitcoin that the exchange holds on your behalf. Remember that. The exchange controls the private keys. You control username and a password to their platform. This distinction matters immensely. When FTX collapsed in November of 2022, billions of dollars in customer funds were lost. Not because Bitcoin failed, but because people trusted FTX to hold their Bitcoin. The Bitcoin itself was fine, the custodian wasn't. The solution is self-custody, and I talk about this in every single video. Holding your own private keys, which means holding your Bitcoin in a wallet you control. This is the most important step. The tool for this is a hardware wallet, or also known as cold storage. A hardware wallet, which is a small physical device roughly the size of a USB drive, that stores your private keys offline, disconnected from the internet. When you want to send Bitcoin, you plug it in or tap it, confirm the transaction on the device, and that's it. Your Bitcoin private keys never touch the internet connected computer, and that's a super important step. Now, a few wallets I would suggest: Cold Card is the holy grail, Trezor, Jade, not Ledger. Please don't buy a Ledger. Please make sure you do your own research on all these models, the pricing, and always buy directly from the manufacturer. Never buy a hardware wallet from a third-party seller like Amazon or eBay. Buy directly from the manufacturer. It's important to do your own research, because just the other day somebody suggested a wallet I'd never even heard of, and it actually seems pretty cool. Not open source, but for everyday spending, I think it's a good option. Buying Bitcoin is not only making the purchase, it's making sure you have your hardware wallet and setting it up. When you initialize a new hardware wallet, it generates a seed phrase, a sequence of 12 or 24 words. The seed phrase is the master key to everything in that wallet. Write it down on paper, write it clearly. Don't photograph it. Don't digitize it. Don't store it in a cloud services, a notes app, or an email. Do not type it into any website. Don't ever take a picture of it. Store the paper in a secure, private location, somewhere protected from fire, flood, and unauthorized access. Some people make multiple copies of their seed phrase and store them in multiple locations. However, I find this to be a potential point of failure, but to each their own. Set up your OPSEC that feels comfortable to you. Don't make it overly complicated. At minimum, one secure copy is obviously a non-negotiable. This is a very important step. When you're setting everything up before transferring the Bitcoin off the exchange, verify that your seed phrase works by doing a test recovery on the device. When you turn your device on, it'll give you an option to restore from seed phrase. Do that before there's any money on the device. That way, you know your recovery works in case anything ever goes wrong. Then, when you verified that it works, send a little bit first. Make sure it lands so that you know that you don't have some sort of clipping malware on your computer, because you don't just copy paste the addresses. You confirm on the device that the address you're sending from, which is your exchange, to your device matches. Wait for that money to land, then send the rest. Good? Let's keep going. This process takes the Bitcoin from an exchange and puts it squarely in your control. And that is the most important part of Bitcoin. Once it's there, no exchange failure, no government, no politician, no platform hack, and no account freeze can ever touch it. And that's when it gets really powerful. Now that we've done that, we've set up our exchange, we've made a small purchase, we have our hardware wallet, we've tested that the recovery works, all that amazing stuff. Here's a few security practices that I want you to ingrain into your mind from day one. Never, ever, ever share your seed phrase with anyone. Not customer support, not a friend, not someone on Twitter offering to help, not a website asking you to verify your wallet, which that is a huge red flag. Anyone asking for your seed phrase is trying to steal your Bitcoin. Full stop. It doesn't even if you think it's Michael Saylor or Brian Armstrong, no one should ever ask you for it. It is yours. You control it. You have taken the responsibility of holding your own Bitcoin. It is yours now. Don't let that go anywhere else. Beware of phishing. Fake websites designed to look like legitimate exchanges or wallet software are very common. Always navigate directly to the site. Don't click links from emails or social media. Verify the URL carefully before entering any credentials. This is a big one for me, and I'd struggled with making this YouTube channel because of this reason. Don't advertise that you own Bitcoin. This is called operational security, OPSEC. You don't need to tell people what you hold, how much you hold, or where you store it. Also, this goes with Bitcoin merch, which I'm heavily against. I don't know how people feel about that, but wearing Bitcoin merch is just asking for a $5 wrench attack. The fewer people who know, the smaller the risk of being targeted by theft or social engineering. Another one, keep your software updated. Make sure your hardware wallet firmware is up to date. Use the manufacturer's official software for updates. It's just a good practice. Once a month, take your wallet out. turn it on, make sure everything works, connect it, update it, then stick it away. Those are good practices. Now, things to avoid, and these are the ones that we see. And, when people lose their Bitcoins, it's very sad. Leaving your Bitcoin on an exchange for long term. And we've covered why. There's been so many exchanges that have just gone under with people's Bitcoin, and it's just a bad practice. A small amount is okay, but have plans to move everything off. Next, investing more than you can afford to hold through a downturn. Don't panic sell your Bitcoin and then never come back. You don't want to get burnt by Bitcoin and miss out on this opportunity. People who sold at the bottom of every cycle are the ones with painful stories. Volatility is the price of entry into the best performing asset of the last decade. It's just how it works. Pay it or don't invest. Another mistake to avoid is buying on an unregulated platform because the fees are lower. My suggestion is pay the extra $2 or $3 per transaction to make sure you're buying from a reputable exchange. Why not? Just do it. All your other costs of holding your own Bitcoin is a one-time thing. You pay once for your Bitcoin wallet, once for your security setup in your safe and your metal C plate. That's it. Pay the extra few dollars every transaction to make sure you're getting it from the right place. And lastly, falling for scams. If it sounds too good to be true, it is. No legitimate platform will double your Bitcoin. Please do not ever click a link that has a fake Michael Saylor video saying that if you send him one Bitcoin, he'll send you two back. Just think of that. Don't. All you need to worry about is purchasing your Bitcoin from a reputable exchange, sending it to cold storage, and then focusing on yourself outside of the system. Most people don't even know Bitcoin exists. Go out there and enjoy your life. Here's a few things just before we close out, and we've covered them before, but they are important. Choose a regulated and reputable exchange. Set up your account properly with strong authentication and passwords. Buy consistently over time through a DCA, and then do what most people never do, move your Bitcoin to cold storage. That last step is what makes the difference between exposure to Bitcoin and actual ownership of Bitcoin. It's what the whole point of owning Bitcoin itself is when you control the keys. The traditional financial system has trained us to trust custodians. Banks hold our money. We need permission to take it. Brokerages hold our stocks. We've never had the option to hold our own assets for ourselves in our own custody. And that's why this is so amazing. Use it correctly. If this has helped, let me know. Drop a comment. This is just a basic video. I wanted to throw it together based on some search trends I saw. I hope this helps somebody. And as always, if you're going to buy Bitcoin, make sure you send it to cold storage.